How to fix a dropped stitch left-handed. Fixing a drop stitch is actually pretty universal whether you're left-handed or right-handed. The only difference is going to be how you put the loop back on. Sometimes we start knitting and we drop a stitch and we don't realize it, and that stitch works its way loose, and before we know it, we have a whole bunch of cross threads and we're thinking, oh man, how do I fix this? Well, fixing it is actually a lot easier than you'd think. Once we catch that loop and we stop it from unraveling, what we're going to need is a good old-fashioned crochet hook, preferably one that's comparable in size to the knitting needle that you're working. This one here is a little smaller, but it'll work just fine. What we're going to do is we're going to insert the crochet hook so that way we're right through. And what we're going to do is we're going to work in all of those cross threads that dropped. Now, if you're using circular needles or regular needles, if you have caps, put them on. That way you don't have to worry as much. Otherwise, you're just going to have to hold and be careful. In order to fix a knit, we need to make sure that this loop is always to the front. So when we create a new loop, it needs to come through to the front. Now I'm going to take that same crochet hook and I'm going to put it under one of the cross threads. I'm going to turn it just a little so it comes through easily. But I'm going to untwist any twisting I do so I get a nice, neat knit. Now I'm going to go to the next cross thread, bring it under, and draw it through. Keep working your way up the ladder, making sure that you are not twisting anything in ways that it should not be twisted. If you find you get something that's really twisted like this, just turn your hook so that way it untwists. Grab and go until you get to the last one. Then all you have to do, if you're a lefty, you're going to put it back on your right hand needle. If you're a righty, you're going to put it on your left hand needle. I'm just going to slide these up so I can actually get at the needle. I'm going to put it back on. And again, we are concerned with how it twists because we want to make sure that when it's done and we do our next stitch, when the knit comes through, see how those legs are now crossed? It needs to fall on so that way it's nice and flat and untwisted. Then you'd be able to go ahead, take any stitches you slipped off to get to it. If that's what you did, if you already knitted them, you would just put them on your hook and you'd be ready to go. But that's how you fix a drop stitch. If it was a drop stitch on a pearl-sided fabric, to be honest, all I do is I turn it to the wrong side and I work it back up from the knit side. Because, if you remember, knit makes a wrong side of pearl and pearl makes a wrong side of knit. So no matter what, once you learn how to fix a drop stitch on a knit pattern, you can fix a drop stitch in a pearl. Happy knitting!